Hello, my miraculous friend, and welcome to another episode of the Magnify Your Miracles podcast. This is Reverend Frances Faden, and I'm just so excited to be with you today because I have an awesome guest. We're going to be talking about miracles. We're going to be talking about music, two of my favorite subjects. But before we go into all this stuff, I need to calm down. So calm down with me. Let's take a few deep breaths together just to get ourselves grounded and centered and really open and receptive to the vibrations. We're going to be talking a lot about vibration today and experiencing the energy of vibration. And as we're breathing in and breathing out, we're letting go of whatever we no longer need. We're bringing our attention into this present moment. We're opening our heart and calming our mind. And just giving yourself permission to let go of whatever happened before, whatever might happen later. And giving yourself the gift of being in this present moment. And as we are more and more aware of this moment, we can feel the energy of the divine supporting us. And knowing that whatever it is that you need to heal, to release, to welcome into your life, whatever it is that you need will be exactly what you receive today. So knowing that that's exactly what's going to happen, let's take one more deep breath together in gratitude, and we can begin. All right. Well, welcome once again, my friend. I am just so delighted to have you here today because you are going to be meeting one of my favorite people on the planet, Wendy Luck, who is an amazing healer, an amazing musician, an amazing human being on every level. And you guys know I only bring people on the podcast that I trust, that I know, that I have experience with. And Wendy is no exception to this. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about her, and then we're going to bring Wendy on. Wendy is an internationally recognized flautist, vocalist, composer, sound healer, and multimedia artist. She has played throughout the United States, in Italy, France, Poland, Germany, all around the world. And she has studied with many world-renowned teachers, including flute study at the Conservatory in Nice, France. She resides in New York City, and she has played in some amazing places, such as Lincoln Center, Carnegie Hall, and even the Rainbow Room in New York City. In 1998, she had the chance to go to the Great Pyramid in Egypt, and she recorded this amazing music, which she's going to tell us about today, inside the Great Pyramid and in the temples along the Nile. I'm so excited for you to hear this story. She's even been asked by the Egyptian embassy to become a music ambassador of peace, performing her music at the National Press Club in Washington, D.C. Wendy's music is really infused with the healing energy of Egypt, which you're going to find out in just a little bit. And since this time, she has developed a really powerful way of creating personal healing flute meditations for you individually. And we're going to hear a little bit more about that. So please help me welcome my good friend, Wendy Luck. Yay! Hi, Wendy.
Hi, Frances. So wonderful to be here with you today.
I'm just so excited because we're talking about miracles, and you are like a walking, talking miracle channel, in my opinion. And your gift is just blessing the world, no matter what medium you're playing, whether you're playing jazz, whatever you're playing. And I know you're multi-talented, but there's something really miraculous that happens when you play music. So just letting people know, Wendy is going to be playing a little bit of music for us later on in our conversation. But Wendy, I like to start by asking all of my guests the same question, which is, what is your definition of a miracle?
Which I love the question, and I had a lot of fun with it, and I'm going to read it, what I
Okay.
came up with here. A miracle is when we are divinely graced to have enough of a shift in consciousness to see what's already there.
I love that because what do I say? Your miracle is already here. I love that. Now, this is one of the things I think we should definitely talk about is how music is that catalyst, because I feel like it really helps us to do exactly that. It's like get in touch with what's already here, the miraculous energy that is already here. Would you say that that's your experience too?
Definitely. And it's also, I mean, part of this exploring what a miracle it's so much things we often take for granted. Like a bird isn't just a bird, for example,
Right.
it's a miracle. So there are miracles happening all the time. It's a point of view,
Yeah.
and it's almost like tearing off one point of view and getting a shift of consciousness,
Yeah.
which usually is followed by synchronicities that are effortless, which I feel come with grace and blessing, but it's essentially a shift in consciousness, which sound can do, music can do, vibration can do. It's another way of shifting that consciousness.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know you've been studying music pretty much your whole life and very accomplished as a classically trained and then jazz and all of that. So tell us, how did you begin doing these personalized flute healing sessions? How did that evolve?
Well, throughout my professional music career, which ranged, as you said, from classical to jazz to world to avant garde, all these different styles, I was always on a spiritual and healing path. And I frequently have received feedback that my music has been healing and transformative to people in my audiences in any style of music that I'm playing. But since the COVID pandemic, um, instead of playing music solely for entertainment,
Hmm.
my focus shifted to making music that's more specifically for healing. And I posted some spontaneously created music on Facebook, and I received such positive feedback from people that there was such powerful healing effect for them that I decided I would offer my previously closeted specific healing process that I know very well to benefit others.
It's beautiful. So now it's really the time. I love that. The time actually brought it out of you, but it was there the whole time.
Exactly. Exactly.
So, what happens in one of these healing sessions? If you could kind of walk us through that process of, I know that you're highly intuitive. So, you meet with somebody, and I think you call that an assessment, right? You have an assessment just to see whether this is a fit for them. And if it is, what happens?
Well, I should preface this with a healing concert or a meditative CD is a lovely thing to listen to.
Sure.
And it can be very healing and calming, but it is general. And um, we are each a unique set of vibrations um, as individuals that make us who we are. And I believe each of us carries this original blueprint of perfection that's deeply wired into us. So, what I do is I help people focus an intention in an area where they need support or
Hmm.
help, or what I call where they're out of tune,
Oh, yeah.
you
Hmm.
know. And I pair that with uh, the frequencies that come through me, which are aligned to bring that person closer to that original blueprint of perfection, which I would call being in harmony with yourself, and which means being in joy, in health, in happiness, closer to it,
Hmm.
which is called entrainment, essentially. And I love to share this story,
Yeah.
which when I was in college, in the music school, there was a teacher that was teaching us about entrainment, and he put two violins on their backs on a table.
Hmm.
And he took a bow and he stroked one of the strings on one of the violins, which created one particular tone. And then he took that bow and on the other violin stroked a different string. So they were both initially ringing different tones. And after a little while, they ended up producing the same exact tone.
Right.
So there it is, right in front of you. Science. We are made of vibration. We are going to resonate with what comes around us. So it's very important what vibrations we are exposing ourselves to. So with bringing in these kind of energies, there is an alignment that I've seen takes place. I'm sort of out of it. I'm the channel of it, but something is aligning people and I see it, and it's miraculous to me to see it. I don't feel like I'm actually doing
Wow.
anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I just want to share with people my own experience, and then I'm going to ask you a little bit about Egypt. So I had been having some challenges with meditating. I'd been feeling really restless. This was probably right around this same time of like COVID and other things going on. And normally I can meditate and it's fine, but I was really having a hard time. And so I did a session. I did one of these personal flute healing sessions with Wendy. And I said, oh, I think I'm like, my mind's too active. And she was able to intuitively see, like, oh no, what's happening is your mind and your heart are not communicating and they need to be, it's not one or the other. It's about getting them again in harmony. They were out of harmony with each other. And so when you were channeling that music specifically for me, I could feel the energy. It was like little threads of energy connecting my mind and my heart. And I saw all kinds of like sacred geometry. I mean, it was unlike anything I'd ever experienced. But the profound peace I experienced afterwards was really amazing. And then that night, I was able to meditate deeply for the first time in a really long time. So that for me was a real miracle that I couldn't have thought my way through that. I wouldn't have known like what to do, but on an energetic level, it's like I went beyond my thoughts into my energy field to bring harmony in a way that didn't know I was out of harmony.
It's beautiful.
So
Wonderful.
tell us about because there's something that happens when you play this music. Tell us about your experience in Egypt, because I think that's a big piece of why this music and these sessions are so powerful.
Yes, it was a life-changing experience going there. I have been fortunate enough to go to a number of sacred sites around the world, many of them with a small group of like-minded people. And the first journey was to Egypt, which for me was the most powerful. And I had so many profoundly healing and transformative experiences, which also affected my music. And firstly, wherever I go, I seem to bring my flute. And when we first went into a temple site, we went to many, but when we first went in, I was asked to play my flute for this meditation. And I lifted up my flute to begin playing, and suddenly a bolt of energy came through me. My hands started shaking, my body started shaking, and fortunately I was around people that a few of them were having those experiences too, and it was sort of like, okay, we signed on for this. We didn't realize what we were
Yeah.
getting ourselves into, but we're here and we're going to go with this. And that first experience was a little bit rough. But the interesting thing is I was like trying to go to a note that I was planning to go to, and this energy was taking me to play something else. And it was quite unnerving, but it was also very cool.
Yeah.
And I began to realize this was a healing experience. This was a gift that was coming through, because as we went to each subsequent temple, my body was aligning with being able to take in these energies, and something happened I could feel for healing for me, but also that my music was shifting and changing. And there were many other experiences from that first trip. When I went back to the United States, I had this intense need to go back and to record in the Great Pyramid and in the temples along the Nile. And in preparation for the trip, when the departure date was getting closer, I started to have these really vivid dreams with these unmistakable healing symbols that were presented to me.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, this isn't an ordinary dream. I wasn't looking for dreams like this.
Right.
It had a different quality. And the night that I received the last healing symbol, I also received a message that these symbols, these healing symbols, would be forever embedded in the music that I play as well as in me. So that was quite interesting. So I'm making my plans to go, and I realized I had to get permission from the government to get into the Great Pyramid. I was in the King's Chamber, and they don't give you permission. That's not something they do. I
Yeah.
got permission,
Yeah.
which was a coup. I mean, it was just unbelievable. And I shouldn't say that. It was quite believable. I had made my decision. As soon as I made my decision to make this trip, a series of never ending synchronicities began to happen that kept, opening the doors to make this happen. So that experience in and of itself, there's just so many stories of that. But I had the experience. I was able to go into the King's Chamber and have this, and I did the recording. Interestingly, some of the equipment, because of the energies, stopped working. you know, and I was like, okay, you need to start working. We need to surpass this.
Right. Right.
Everything worked out. Everything just kept working out,
Wow.
But that was the beginning of this gigantic shift that happened. And it proceeded to be in much of my music. I knew that. And in my performances, and I would do various healing concerts and this and that, and even in my jazz. But this is a different time now, where I feel I'm being called to really be specific
Yeah.
and use this in a very specific way for people.
Yeah, to really make it available. That's what I'm hearing. It's like make it available for people, especially highly sensitive people like you and I. This is real. I think this is perfect. If you're a highly sensitive person, you will get so much benefit from doing one of these sessions. Absolutely.
Yes. So what I do in the session is, most issues that come up or areas that need support, I have found to basically refer to 4 categories
Oh,
as
great.
launching pads. And not and then we can get very specific on what it is that is specific for you. But I have found that these 4 areas help people kind of narrow in to
Yeah. So, what are the four?
so the 4 are calmness and relaxation,
Hmm.
grounding, fulfilling your heart's desire, and music as a protective shield.
Oh, perfect. Okay. So, when somebody calls you to have that complimentary assessment, that's part of what you're looking to see is like which of these four areas might be the focus,
Or at least the launching pad
the
to
launching
start.
pad.
Yes. And then we can get more specific. But usually things I find fall into one of those areas. And it helps people to just, because there's so many things that we're all dealing with, that in itself can be overwhelming. Where do I start?
Mm-hmm.
And we've talked about the fact that, when there's calmness and peace, the system has a chance to do its thing more
Yeah.
effectively.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, would you be willing to give us a sample so people know what we're talking about, this beautiful music?
I would absolutely love to.
Okay.
And I want to preface it
Okay.
with now's a time where calmness and peace is so important because there's, especially as sensitives, you know, there is so much chaos, chaotic energy and dissonant energy that
Yeah.
even if we apply ourselves to ground and center, it's still pretty powerful stuff out there to be doing on our own. So, my intention for us today in this meditation would be for peace, calmness, and unity within ourselves and for our world.
Okay.
So, I would just ask us all to take a deep breath and embrace this intention. And I will call in my guardian angel and my team of guides of the highest light and purity to come through me and my flute to give to us the most powerful healing of peace.
Beautiful.
So
Beautiful.
I'm going to get ready. And all I say to people is to just be open and willing to receive. So,
All right. So we're all going to be open and willing and to be receptive, letting yourself really take a breath and relax as you are getting ready to receive this, what I consider to be miraculous, beautiful flute music. Letting yourself feel that peace washing over you. Feeling so blessed. And then as you bring your awareness back into this moment, we'll take one more deep breath together and we can open our eyes. Well, that was amazing. Thank you so much, Wendy.
Thank you for the opportunity to share it.
So beautiful. So to let people know, that's somewhat similar to what you might experience when you set up an appointment with Wendy, except it'll be specific to you personally. You know, it'll be for you. Of course, she's got this beautiful CD. She's got many CDs that have this music, and we'll put that in the show notes for you so that you know where you can get the one that has the music from the pyramid in Egypt and all her other beautiful CDs as well. But I highly recommend in this time, give yourself the gift of peace. Give yourself the gift of being seen and allowing yourself to be loved by the universe through the medium of music, because that's exactly what Wendy is offering. So if people wanted to do that, Wendy, what would they do? How would they get in touch with you?
You can easily go to my website, which is wendyluck.com. There is a tab for healing music with two drop downs. One is for the personalized healing flute sessions, the other one is for healing concerts. But for the personalized healing flute sessions, you can find that under healing flute.
Okay, and so that's where they would go if they want to do the assessment and find out more about how you work and everything, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I will put that in the show notes. It's wendyluck.com, and luck is just the way it sounds, Luck. wendyluck.com, healing music. And please give yourself the gift of that complimentary assessment. I know it's going to make a huge difference for you, especially if you want to change your vibration in the coming new year. What a way to do it than through the power of vibration. I'm so happy that we got to spend this time together, Wendy. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, it's such a joy, Frances, to share this time together. You are a miracle.
Oh, you're
And
so
you
sweet.
bring so much to so many of us. And I'm so touched by you. And so, with all of that, it's an extra joy to be here together
You're
doing
so
this.
sweet. Thank you, my friend. All right, my miraculous friend. Well, just remember, as always, that the key to magnifying your miracle is to know that your miracle is already here. We just have to let ourselves become aware of it. So God bless each and every one of you. If you have enjoyed this episode, I'd love it if you could give me a review and let your friends know about it. And until next time, everybody, goodbye.